This is Sibongile Ziambo welcoming you to the news on Zodiac. The headlines. MEC yet to decide on status of holding by-elections in 7 constituencies and 2 wards. State applies for revocation of bail for Norman Chisale in the attempted murder case at the High Court in Blantyre. United Nations provides 3 billion kwacha to Malawi to help fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And in sports, South Africa's Polokwane City misses deadline to register Bullets midfielder Mike Mkwati. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Malawi Electoral Commission is yet to decide on the status of holding by-elections in some 7 constituencies and 2 wards. The vacancies have been created by death and nullification by the courts. MEC chairperson Judge Chifundo Kachali has told journalists in Ilongo on Tuesday that the commission is still consulting with stakeholders and a decision of holding by-elections will be made at a later stage. This report by Nafim Lamba.
Addressing journalists in Nilongwe, chairperson for the Malawi Electoral Commission, Justice Dr. Chifundo Kachali, said they haven't come up with a date yet for the by-elections. He said this was because the commission was still making consultations with stakeholders on the electoral calendar.
Currently engaged in consultations with other stakeholders in order to help us accommodate any revision to the calendars that may help us to plan those events to be held simultaneously.
3 of the 7 constituencies became vacant following nullification when the High Court noted irregularities during the 2019 elections. Passing the verdict earlier this month, the court ordered that MEC should conduct new elections in these constituencies within 60 days. The 3 are Nsanje North, Chikwawa East and Nsanje Central constituencies. The other 4 constituencies and 2 wards became vacant following the demise of parliamentarians and councillors. The other vacant constituencies are Nchisi North, Zomba Changalume, Lilongwe Nsinja South and Kalonga Northwest.
The state has applied for revocation of bail for Norman Chisale in the attempted murder case being tried at the High Court in Blantyre. State lawyers told the High Court in Blantyre Tuesday that the private bodyguard for former President Peter Mutharika is interfering with witnesses. Defense will respond to the application Wednesday afternoon. Happy Jaramano sent us this report.
State has paraded 5th witness, Sochi Police in charge of Criminal Investigation Department, Detective Henry Malange, who told the court that police changed the charge from accidental shooting to attempted murder. This is a case which former bodyguard of former President Peter Mutharika, Norman Chisale, is answering at the High Court in Blantyre. Detective Malange told the court that the charge was amended based on the further facts that were gathered. During the hearing, State exhibited a gun which Chisale is being accused of using to shoot the victim, Sigere Amani, last year. After cross-examination and re-examination, one of State lawyers, Pirian Masanjala, stand the court when he made an application for bail revocation of the suspect.
Well, the State was applying for the revocation of bail of Mr. Chisale on account of witness interference. We formed the view that he was interfering with one of our witnesses, but that is an application that we've made, and we feel that is appropriate and the right application, that is, bail should be revoked. And I think if you were also following from the submissions that the state made, as well as the evidence that was given yesterday morning by our first witness, at least it shows that the accused has been in contact with some state witnesses. We are, of course, lucky that we have come thus far, but we still feel, because the witness has not yet testified, they should not be in contact with him.
From the defense team, Counsel Chance Gondo says the application is laughable.
Those are just imaginations by the investigator. There is no evidence that Mr. Chisale has been interfering with witnesses. If they were cause, I think you expect evidence more than just say I was told that he was calling this, I was told that he was calling this. You don't bring that evidence. So the application is laughable, ridiculous, embarrassing. As the state, they should put their house in order. They shouldn't be malicious. They should be able to take proper cases to court, not just because of authorities, then we should proceed with this matter. They know that they don't have a case. Their case has crumbled. So they just want to please the public because they are paid by the taxpayer. So at least they have to justify why we are paying them.
This Wednesday, the defense is expected to respond to the application, which is before Judge Sylvester Kalembera. Earlier in the day, the court visited the crime scene at Mwankunda.
The United Nations has released 3 billion kwacha towards COVID-19 response in Malawi. UN Resident Coordinator Maria Jose Torres said in a statement that specific target for the funds will be improving basic health care, girls' education, and building resilience communities under the Malawi Sustainable Development Goals Escalation Fund project. Anna Femlamba filed this report.
As one way of supporting Malawi in the fight against the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, United Nations has allocated 3 billion kwacha towards the fight. The money is an addition to the 101 billion kwacha for Malawi Sustainable Development Goal Acceleration Fund project, which was set in 2019 by government, United Nations and other development partners. The purpose is to attain maximum results for sustainable development goals in the next 10 years in line with Malawi's Vision 2063. In a statement released today, Tuesday, the project's committee, which also includes the Secretary to the Treasury, Chances Mwaka, the funds will be used to keep girls in schools, improving the health system and community resilience. According to the UN Resident Coordinator Maria Jose Torres, the funds are expected to bail out the country from the socio-economic effects of COVID-19. The 4-year program will particularly assist the vulnerable, such as women and girls, who are likely to be affected by the pandemic.
Meanwhile, the first 15 days of February, we find that more and more COVID-19 tests are being conducted, more and more recoveries noted, and reducing deaths. We have this analysis for the details.
The surge of the COVID-19 positive cases, which were registered in the second wave of the pandemic, compelled government to impose some stringent restrictions to contain the new infections among Malawians. As the figures of those recovering continue to be impressive and the positivity rate steadily falling, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has dangled hope of a normal life again to Malawians. Presenting a COVID-19 update last night in Lilongwe, Minister of Health Kumbizagando Chiponda, who is also co-chairperson of the Presidential Committee, said government would lessen the restrictions if people continue to follow the prevention guidelines, which will translate to less COVID-19 positive cases. In his weekly briefs, President Lazarus Chakwera suggested that government will lift some restrictions if the positivity rate drops to 5%. In the last 24 hours, Malawi has registered a 17.5 positivity rate from 929 new tests with 146 new infections. Kandodo also announced an impressive recovery of 588 new people free from the virus, with 6 deaths recorded. Also speaking at the COVID-19 update, senior prophet at the Enlightened Christian Gathering ECG, Justice Hara, said the clergy will also support government with civic education of the AstraZeneca vaccine set to be administered to Malawians beginning next month. For Zodiac, this is Alex Banda.
And staying with the pandemic, the Episcopal Conference of Malawi, the Evangelical Association of Malawi, and the Malawi Council of Churches have condemned doctrines that are perpetuating gender-based violence and the further spreading of the coronavirus. Father Henry Chimkanda, representing ECM, has suggested that a common manual should be developed to ensure uniformity of doctrines on the 2 subject matters to be disseminated to people. Board member of the EAM, Reverend Matuda Matabwa, observed that gender-based violence is escalating because of failure by faith leaders to understand and interpret scriptures. Onyango Koma gave us this report.
In Doha yesterday, delegates from religious-based organizations met to bang heads on how the church can help eliminate gender-based violence in Malawi in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic. Hot on the agenda was the issue of doctrines and interpretation of scripture, which some faith leaders find is fanning gender-based violence and the spread of coronavirus. Some faith leaders are alleged to be discouraging their followers to follow COVID-19 preventive measures, saying, "We are in the last days, and those measures," they say, cannot save people. Father Henry Chimkanda, representing ECM, suggests that a common manual of doctrine should be developed to ensure uniformity of message disseminated to people across all churches.
We feel that maybe we should have a common approach by having a common syllabus, as it were, maybe a manual that disseminate the same information to all people.
In her remarks, EAM board member Reverend Matilda Matabwa said misinterpretation of scripture on the conduct of men when in marriages is also being used as justification for gender-based violence.
We have agreed as 3 months about it that we need to further engage all church leaders and faith leaders to say that we should be able to understand the scriptures. Of course, there's a formulation of a policy on gender policy and also a framework on that one to say that each one of us will be able to understand, to interpret the scriptures so that they are not part of the things that perpetuate GBV.
Delegates to the discussions were drawn from the Episcopal Conference of Malawi, Evangelical Association of Malawi, and the Malawi Council of Churches. For Zodiac in Idoa, this is Aunyango Nkoma reporting.
Residents around Mkanda Trading Center in Chinji district have gone 3 months without electricity following a faulty ESCOM transformer. This has adversely affected business operators whose source of livelihood is derived from the use of electricity. But ESCOM Publications Manager Innocent Chitosi says the problem will be resolved by the end of this week, now that the body has received 150 transformers to rate countrywide. And you're watching News on Zodiac. We'll be right back shortly. Stand by.
Bliss Body Lotion is well refined to give your skin full hydration, leaving you feeling fresh throughout the day. Bliss Body Lotion is a top-range body lotion which contains natural extracts and is found in 3 flavors at a very reasonable price. Bliss Lotion Aloe Vera. Bliss Lotion Instant Hydration. Bliss Lotion for men. Get yourself Bliss Body Lotion today in all leading stores across the country.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
As we work hard every day to serve our customers and grow our business, one thing should always come to mind. You cannot do business without your customers. COVID-19 is amongst us and is quickly claiming the lives of our loved ones. As part of our corporate social responsibility, we have decided to forgo our part of revenue on Safe Hands Premium Hand Sanitizer to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Safe Hands Premium Hand Sanitizer is now available at Metro, Spar, People's Supermarket in Lilongwe, Blantyre, Zomba, and Mzuzu. Safe Hands Premium Hand Sanitizer comes in 5 liters. Beat the coronavirus. Use Safe Hands Hand Sanitizer. Ethco. That's the spirit.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Precious things have a secret formula. While John is busy trying to impress, James discovered Tangu's secret. Tangu uses Purity sanitary products from Purity body wash, Purity hands wash, Purity body lotion to Purity dishwash. After a week of using Purity sanitary products, James won the heart of Tangu.
Use Purity sanitary products.
Welcome back. You're with me, Sibongile Ziambo. Before we continue, let's take a look at the headlines. State applies for revocation of bail for Norman Chisali in the attempted murder case at the High Court in Blantyre. United Nations provides 3 billion kwacha to Malawi to help fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And in sports, South Africa's Polokwane City misses deadline to register Bullets midfielder Mike Mkwate. Ministry of Agriculture says response has not been impressive from the 300,000 farming households that have not yet redeemed their farm inputs under the Affordable Inputs Program, which is closing on February 20. Minister of Agriculture spokesperson Gretchen Lungu says in some instances the slow response has been due to lack of national identity cards on the part of the farmers and unavailability of inputs in some designated markets. Meanwhile, the ministry says it has engaged smallholder farmers fertilizer revolving fund in mobile vending of the inputs to reach out to the farmers before closure of the program this Saturday. Fanani Nyurenda filed this report.
Minister of Agriculture spokesperson Gretchen Lungu has told us that over 3,400,000 farmers have purchased inputs under this year's Affordable Input Program, representing a 91% redemption rate. Lungu said currently almost 300,000 farmers are yet to buy the inputs across the country. The remarks from Lungu comes 5 days before government winds up the program on 20 February. Lungu said the ministry is now engaged in mobile vending of the inputs to reach out to all farmers who are targeted in the program by Saturday using smallholder fertilizer revolving fund.
We have got around 300,000 farmers who are yet to redeem their inputs. Yes. The reason behind this is that in some areas, farmers' choice that they are not redeeming the inputs because we have seen that in districts like Chikwawa and Sanje, there are shops there which are having the inputs, but the farmers are not redeeming. Also, in some areas like in Chitipa, in the Kaporo South and the North, there are some few farmers who are still yet to redeem their inputs.
Meanwhile, Mr. Daniel Sinkala says in Mzimba's Bulala Extension Planning Area, some farmers have been left stranded after other people took their national identity cards to buy the inputs for them, but sold the inputs elsewhere. This year's Affordable Input Program started with a number of hiccups, ranging from network challenges and suppliers failing to avail themselves in time in areas where they were allocated, forcing beneficiaries to sleep at selling points. Stakeholders have called on government to improve the program come next year to ensure that beneficiaries access the inputs in time and close to where they live. For Zodiac, I am Vanan Nyelenda.
Construction work for what will be Neno Integrated Youth Center is behind schedule. Sports and Youth Minister Ole Msungama says the delay is frustrating efforts of creating jobs for the youths. He spoke Tuesday when he toured the construction site, where he noted that what is being constructed is not what government wanted. This report by Steve Kalungwe.
Speaking after touring project site on Tuesday, Minister of Youth and Sports Ole Msungama expressed dissatisfaction with the progress of work of constructing an integrated youth center. He cited low progress despite enough workforce and also construction works not at the original site.
Of all the 4 projects, I would say it appears to me that 2 projects are doing very well. Not very well, but are doing well. And the other 2, not good. So one of them is here in Neno.
The construction company has since admitted they are behind their working schedule. Managing partner Lom Gumba of Magalasi Construction Company, however, attributed the delay to a fault on an ESCOM transformer on the original site.
We would like to agree with the minister that the works are behind schedule, but it's not necessarily all the buildings. We have got the administration block and 1 chicken kraal. These ones are 3 weeks behind schedule. But for the rest of the blocks, the classroom, the administrations, and the resource center and the operation block, and including one car, all these are within schedule. And we are very hopeful that the way we have scheduled our works, we should be able to finish. Come 5 June, we should be able to deliver the project in time.
The construction works commenced on 20th October last year and are scheduled to finish on 5th June 2021. For Zodiac in Neno, this is Steve Kalungwe.
In sports news, South African Glad Africa Championship side Polokwane City have missed a deadline to register midfielder Mike Mkwate as the transfer window closed last night, which leaves the midfielder's hopes of making his debut that side in doubt. Football Association of Malawi compliance manager Kasper Jangali, who is also responsible for transfers, says Polokwane did not apply for an international transfer certificate. And that's how we conclude this edition of news. And before we go, a look at the headlines. Make yet to decide on status of holding by-elections in 7 constituencies and 2 wards. State applies for revocation of bail for Norman Chisale in the attempted murder case at the High Court in Blantyre. United Nations provides $3 billion kwacha to Malawi to help fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And in sports, South Africa's Polokwane City misses deadline to register Bullets midfielder Mike Mkwate. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. Remember, COVID-19 is among us. Observe all preventive measures to protect yourself and your loved ones against the disease. My name is Sibongile Zambo. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.